In all my days, I have never seen a zine so thoroughly devote itself to dissecting another zine like the Canon Annual does to the comic journal's top 100 English-speaking comics of the 20th century. This is amazing. Hello everyone, it's Tom, it's FANzine Live, and we are doing a new releases video today. This is a rather exciting one. It is the Canon Annual 2024, the top 100. And what the people involved with the Canon, and I'm gonna see if I can get you, yes, Colin Blanchett and Alex Eklund, what they have done with this zine. And it is a big zine, a very, very big zine. What they have done is they have taken the now classic issue of the Comics Journal with the 100 best comics of the century. For those who are interested, you can try to find it online. It's issue 210. If you're a subscriber to the Comics Journal, you can read it digitally because they have digital archives. So I got to start with this in order to talk about this. So let's take a quick look at what the Comics Journal did. And they decided to do this project about the top 100. Top 100 English language comics of the century. And I do note that, and they make a big deal out of the fact at Canon, that this was editor Tom Spurgeon's final issue at the Comics Journal as the editor. Spurgeon, of course, went on to, I believe, launch. He definitely helmed. I think he launched the Cartoon Crossroads Columbus program here in Columbus, Ohio. But before that, he was an influential voice, the editor of the Comics Journal, and so forth. So what they did was they brought together a group of contributors and editors at Fantagraphics and the Comics Journal. Yeah, it says the columnists representing a cross-section of the journal's writers were asked to submit top 100 lists. And so what they tried to do is try to figure out what the best comics, English language comics of the 20th century were. And it is a fascinating issue. And I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that if you can get a hold of it, you will learn so much about the depth and breadth and history of comics. It's just fascinating. So as you can see, what you get are very short essays, but with representative artwork from each of the issue or each of the rankings. Oh, and the cover is drawn by Seth, who is known for doing It's a Good Life If You Don't Weaken, Wimbledon Green, and anyway, awesome magazine, strongly suggested. So, having looked at that, now let's talk about the reason we're here, and that's Canon. Canon dissects the Comics Journal issue, and they do it from every possible way. First off, the cover is by Noah Van Sciver, and it is done after Seth. So let's do a side-by-side, and you can see that really it is a nice little homage. I mean, obviously Van Sciver does it differently than Seth, but yeah, you know, they got the base colors right, and they got the idea of having, the faces, and I like it. I like it a lot. So that's very cool. And then getting into it, oh, and they have a version of this as well in the Comics Journal. The book itself is really well constructed. It is a paperback book. Glossy, not quite cardstock cover. And then these interior pages are just super thick. and it's rather impressive. So they start with telling you who the who's who is. Who are all the people involved with the top 100? Notice that on the artwork, they tell you what number they came in at and what the name of the piece was. So this is a representative sample of Little Abner. And a little piece here talking about number 18, Polly and Her Pals by Cliff Sterrett. So this is the top 100 list. Well, that's the top 50, and then this is the back 50. Here's a Prince Valiant piece at 63 or at 100. And so they give nice examples to go through. So they start with, after they do their very basic overview, then they give some thoughts on making lists and the value of making lists. They bring to the fore the issue that up until this issue of the Comics Journal, that comics hadn't really looked at itself, at least in print, from a long lens historical perspective. And so they tried to, in a way, Spurgeon and Gary Groth and Kim Thompson tried to help spur the idea of a canon in the world of comics. And so they talked about making lists and who made lists and how they made lists. He does a wonderful job, or they, I should say, because it's Colin and Alex, do a wonderful job of integrating points, and they scoured records everywhere, online and offline, to present a meaningful discussion of this list using first-person testimonial and written material as best as possible. So they start by doing that. Then going to after the discussion of the list, then they start interviewing some of the players in the creation of the list, and they do it from a 25 years old view. The real challenge of doing that from a retrospective at 25 years old is that there's a lot of stuff that people just don't remember. And so you're going to see that come up as a recurring theme. Oh, I don't remember who did this, or I don't remember how this came to be. However, what you do get is a very clear-eyed discussion of the value, the lasting value of the list. And perhaps maybe a discussion of some of the other issues, like the fact that the Hernandez brothers are all over the top 100 and whether or not that was the best way to handle it. They do an interview here with Groth, who's the publisher at Fantagraphics, and then they share his personal top 100. So you can compare that to the master top 100 at the Comics Journal. Then they interview Robert Boyd, who's at the time he was an editor and a writer for Fantagraphics in the Comics Journal. And here's his top 100. Notice in his case, he has some that were ineligible because he didn't catch that we were supposed to have only English language ones. So Bart Beatty, who is another contributor, and they interview him. Now, they didn't have his top 100. So where they had the information, they share it. Where they don't, they don't. Charles Hatfield, another person, he had his top 100. And again, some ineligible ones. He did them in no particular order after the top 20. Ray Mescalado in his top 100. It's just amazing. And Eric Reynolds, his top 100. Oh, he had 105, excuse me. Seth, the artist, the cover artist, in his top 77. Some contributors and people involved have since passed over the last 25 years. Kim Thompson, I think R.C. Harvey has passed as well. So they got their top 100s, but of course you can't do interviews with them. Colin and Alex talk through the list, and they basically go through and item by item do a quick, yeah, this is good, no, this is bad, no, this is what, this makes sense, and these types of things. And so they discuss every item on the list. The amount of work these guys did, I can't overstate. And then the aardvark in the room. Who got left off? And the big one that got left off, that was a lot of discussion, was Cerebus by Dave Sim. It's really a controversy that he was left off. And then they finally go, 25 years later, where are they now? What are they up to? And so you can see where some of the people who made the list, what they've been doing since the list got published. And then the deceased cartoonists and writers that appeared in the top 100. So they talk about them and kind of their dates of life and death, of birth and death. And then the current availability of titles on the list. Okay, so I'm interested in reading number 1, Crazy Cat. Where can I find it? And they tell you what type of availability it is. In some cases, they'll say stuff is in print. In some cases, they'll say stuff is out of print and where you might be able to find it. Then, from the depths of the internet, and this was interesting because this is where basically Colin and probably Alex, but I don't know for certain, churning through the internet, they found some dialogue on the top 100 that didn't necessarily make the rest of the books, so they decided to put in kind of a little addendum there because Spurgeon, through an email group at the time, took a lot of heat for his top 100, and he did his best to try to defend what they did. Other notable omissions besides Cerebus, and then lastly some stats, because of course everybody loves statistics. And then The World We Dreamed Of, the comic journal's role in the evolution of comics. Talking about the idea of trying to create that canon, of trying to raise the profile and the level of prestige of comics. Really impressive. And then the index to all the images. This is incredible. It's a great book. It's not cheap. It's $25. I will put the link in the show notes on this. In addition to this, Colin has created videos, and he goes through and he's got examples of the works, and he talks about each one, and these videos are out on YouTube. Then he goes back and interviews these people live on YouTube as well. I'll put those videos in, or at least a link. I think he's got it all on a playlist. Point is, this whole discussion of the original top 100, it just goes on and on and on. It is a glorious rabbit hole to dive down, and I strongly recommend you do it. Can't recommend Canon enough. I created FANzine with the idea that someday I might be able to do deep dives into some of my favorite works. I'm not sure I could do a better, more thorough, more exhaustive, and more rewarding work than what Colin and Alex have done with Canon. It's truly amazing. Canon Annual 2024, the top 100, giving all the love in the world to the Comics Journal issue 210, the 100 best comics of the 20th century. English speaking, of course. That's it for now, everybody. Thank you for watching. This has been FANzine Live, the new releases video. Doesn't get much better than this if you're into comics and comics history and comics lore. Canon, it's a good one. Hope you have a great day, everybody. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Make sure you like the video if you actually do like it. Tell your friends about it because we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to see this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss anything. Thanks again. Glad you joined me, and I will catch you next time.